I am so happy for the people of Iran, and I am so happy for the people of Venezuela that they are freed from.
It's really nice to see another international relations major talking about this, because a lot of the conversation has been very heavily biased and skewed. I've been just overwhelmingly disappointed with the existing discourse. So let's talk a little bit about what to expect and what to aim for. Like she said, extremely quick changes in power and deaths in a dictatorship lead to a power vacuum. So, in my opinion, now that the US has struck, it cannot just stop abruptly like what the DSA and a couple other organizations are hoping for. There are extreme flaws in the way that this was gone about, and that there's a lot of questions and theories we can be posing about whether or not we should even be intervening in the first place with the US legacy of colonialism and generally things getting worse once we intervene. But questioning is over. It's happening. It's happening. So again, now that we're in, we cannot just pull back. That's what happened in Afghanistan. Again, literally, America made the Taliban, and then we sort of radicalized them, lost control, and withdrew because, again, war is a terrible thing. The death of the citizens you're aiming to protect in pursuit of some greater global goal is very difficult as a nation as the population begins to lose sight of what we're working on in the first place. We forget the news from yesterday. So keeping people engaged with a war so far away and so unrelated to what they themselves are experiencing in the moment creates an incredibly difficult situation that leads to mass protests for us to withdraw. But once you do withdraw, the secondary power vacuum made from that missing final line of defense is outrageous. So what do I think is going to happen versus what I think we should do? I am very hesitant to believe the Trump administration has a human rights focus. I truly do struggle to believe that. I less so struggle with Israel due to their history of intervention for a lot of the minority groups closest to them, for the Ethiopian Jews, for those populations. I do believe, despite its extreme issues with escalating conflict, it can have a human rights spin. But for Trump in the US, no, I do not think so. That is not one of his campaign goals or personal values. I believe that there are two ways this could go. The Trump government will either support and sponsor a democratic leader with strong ties to the US and turn this into a situation where Iran can, moving forward, prove a more powerful ally. That would most likely look like more strikes, a destabilization of their nuclear program, leading them to lean more heavily on the US, and sort of intervention with interfering in their election. I think that through that, again, the new leader will probably have longstanding ties to America / the USA, and it will lead to more direct trade and more direct reliance on the US as a whole. However, this would not be all bad. It would lead to a more democratic, hopefully more free nation for the women, and for just all of the people living in fear. However, its ethics are definitely debatable, and its rationale is not rooted in the common good. I do not think that we're going to pull out too quickly. I don't think we're going to pull out of the region too quickly, because that's one of Trump's biggest critiques of Obama, and the general population's biggest critique of Obama. I think we're going to see a lot more bloodshed in the days ahead, not always prioritizing what the Iranian people are hoping for themselves. And you can see with a lot of the Iranian content creators on TikTok, they're expressing both cautious joy at the fact that their oppressive dictator's reign of terror is over, and suspicion over the intentions of the Trump administration, because you can never truly, fully trust these regional influences. I think people tying it to the broader history of Israel are correct, but lacking discernment. I do think, all in all, this will lead to a stronger regional tie. So moving forward, I don't think it's good to campaign for us to withdraw, because that would lead to a power vacuum. The military would take over, violence would increase, and we're going to lead to like an even more brutal dictatorship. And this is the type of situation where we're working with forces that are able to do a complete blackout in the nation. So videos and pleas like we're seeing in Gaza aren't able to get through into the international media. So these people are suffering and being silenced. If the videos that can get out of the nation are so horrifically bloody and gory, I wouldn't be surprised if that's why they can't even show them on the news. So I would say the general tone is cautious optimism, distrust of Trump, but placing Iranian voices first in this, and intervention was definitely needed.